So this is the 2023 Kia EV6. It's the sister to the Ioniq 5, the brother to the Ioniq 6, and it's the sporty version of those cars. And the design, I think, looks absolutely awesome. All right, Andrea, you've driven this car more than I have. You've literally been a car hog. Like, it's disgusting how much you won't even let me drive this car.
What do you expect? You're the one that owns an electric car, and I have a Lincoln.
I literally drive this for 1 hour total. You've driven it for like 100. So how does this drive feel to you?
Amazing.
Okay.
I'm loving this car. I'm loving it. I'm loving driving it in the city. It's smooth. It's quick. 320 horsepower, but it actually feels like it has more horsepower.
Especially when you put it on sport mode, your head goes back. Obviously it's not as fast as a dual motor Tesla Model 3, but it's more than fast enough. And if you really want all that speed, then you can buy the GT version of this. This may have the GT line package, but the GT version gives you over 500 horsepower, which is absolutely insane. Quite frankly, what do you need that for?
You don't.
You don't. I'm sorry, but you don't. But like, you're in the city of Toronto, I'm driving here right now. The cameras are probably shaking all over the place because these roads are absolutely trash, and this does a good job handling them. There's very little wind noise. There's very little road noise from the tires. It's super comfortable to drive on, very smooth. Well, not super smooth, but smooth enough. I think if you drop down to, let's say, the 19-inch wheels, it'd be a little bit more smooth, but for 20 inches, it's doing a fantastic job.
But the range, so I was under the impression that it would have about 400 kilometers.
Yeah.
On a full charge.
Maybe.
What did we get, about 350?
So when I charged the car last night, it said, what, 330, 340 on eco mode. Mm-hmm. But in all fairness, it was -2 when I looked at it. So usually when the battery's colder, you're gonna get less range.
Right.
But after I started driving the car, like I went to the gym, you dropped off the kids.
We got about 10 more kilometers on it in the morning.
About 20, 30 more kilometers on the car. So you did get a bit more range. But I don't know.
But it's enough. I know you keep saying that certain electric cars don't have enough range, but how often do you need 400 kilometers?
If you're a road warrior, you're on the car all day.
Yeah, if you're doing a lot of road trips, but
even if you're a real estate agent, driving around the city, going house to house to house, you're going all over the place, you want range. But look, the tech inside of here is very similar to the Ioniq 6, which we've just reviewed not too long ago. Make sure to go check out that video. But there are some differences in terms of the way the car feels inside. Right off the bat, I love how both 12-inch displays are facing the driver. It just makes accessing everything.
And they're curved displays, which is really nice.
Yeah, which curve towards the driver, right? So you see everything, okay? Just like the Ioniq 6, it has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, but it is wired. And if you want to wire it, you have to put it into the USB-A port all the way on the bottom of your car, which makes placing your phone up here a little bit awkward because the cable kind of gets...
Third world problems, Matt.
It's a third world problem, but it's still a problem for me.
You know what? Not a big deal. Not a big deal.
For me,
that's not a reason why I wouldn't buy this car.
Well, for me, who's a tech head, that would annoy me, okay?
Okay.
I have also found that Android Auto or CarPlay is hit or miss. Sometimes it doesn't pick it up, doesn't detect it. But once it's in, detects it, it's good. I just wish they had wireless. It makes such a big difference.
Okay, speaking of wireless, this wireless phone charging sucks.
Okay, I like the placement of it. It charges.
The placement is great. It charges, but it takes... It's like if it's not in the perfect position,
it won't charge the phone.
It'll charge and then it'll stop charging seconds later, and then a few seconds later you'll hear it charging again.
Yeah, but that's with your phone. You have the iPhone 14 Pro. I have the Max version. The Max version, no problems. Okay, like it charges phone. Right away. There's no issues. It's good to go.
So it depends on the phone then.
Yeah,
right?
It depends on the phone, right? But it's still kind of annoying. Like if you buy it and your phone doesn't detect it,
you'll keep hearing it ding, ding, ding every time it charges and stops charging. So that's kind of annoying.
Yeah.
But it is wireless, which is great.
Lots of space here. I do like the 2 levels. You were talking about it earlier, like you like having space underneath it.
I love the floating console. I think it looks so classy and so premium and so sporty. The whole interior is really sporty, right?
It's a sports car.
It's a really cool sporty look.
2 cup holders. They do a good job of holding your cups. There's not a lot of movement when you're driving, which is great. You know, there's a lot of plastic in here, right? Like very piano black plastic, which picks up a lot of dust. So some people might not like that. And if you get scratches on it, you will be able to see it. It's very, very noticeable. Now, this little section over here with your heat and your climate controls.
You had complaints about that, but I love the fact that they're making the most out of a small display.
That's fine.
Right?
That's fine.
It's a little small display, so they can make the most of it by allowing you to scroll between
your navigation and your heat.
Right.
I get that. And it's a much better implementation what they did in the Nissan Ariya, where they had these
Ariya?
Ariya, where you had these capacitive buttons that just didn't work half the time. That's great, okay? But because they have the heated seats and all your other buttons just in front of
you
it,
accidentally
I accidentally hit it all the time, which is
Yeah,
kind of annoying. So you
yeah.
have to make a mental note every time you're trying to access
Not
it.
to rest your hand on the seat warmers and seat
Right,
coolers.
but we got to talk about this drive. Like, the drive of this car doesn't feel like this is a Korean brand. Like, this does not feel like, I don't even know what a Korean drive is supposed to feel like, but this does not feel like that at all. This feels very European.
It doesn't feel like it, but you don't.
I don't know, because I really don't. But like, I used to own a BMW, and driving this feels a lot like that. Like, the steering on this is super stiff, like you would get in a BMW. It feels very sporty, like it takes turns very well. Obviously,
Speaking of sporty, with the you have it on max right now for regenerative braking.
Yes.
And you're making me feel a little bit sick.
good. You know what?
I feel a little bit sick with
That's-
the way you're driving right now. I'm getting whiplash, and you're stopping and going like a crazy person.
Do you want me to just leave you right here? Because I will leave you right
Like,
here.
I think you should take it off max before I throw up in the car.
Okay, well, listen, it does have 3 levels of regenerative braking. I just took it off because
Thank
you obviously
you,
can't handle
because you
it.
suck
But
at
if you want
driving.
max, you hit it 4th time.
This is
using
why
the
I
paddles.
drove in the last 2 videos, to avoid this situation. So I think
You
it's
know
time
what?
for me
I'm
to
going to
drive.
ask them to give us 2 separate cars. That's what I'm going to do from now on.
You just suck at driving.
No, you suck at driving.
Okay, next.
Anyways, wheel is more of a squircle. Lots of buttons to access all your standard stuff, like your phone, your volume. You can even obviously put it on assist to help you stay in the lane. You do have a heads-up display on this car, which I thought was really
Which
cool.
I don't love.
You don't like?
Also,
I'm
never
getting
loved
used to it. Like,
it's really distracting.
I
Do you
agree.
need to see this heads-up display
You know
while you
what?
drive? Can't you just look down at the screen in front of you
for
instead
like
and see
your-
how fast you're
no,
going?
I agree. Like, for seeing like how fast you're going, that's fine. But one thing I do like is being able to see your blind spots. Usually on most cars, it's embedded into the mirrors, but it'd just be cool just to have the blind spots in front of you, because I feel like that's more of a visual importance than just seeing how fast you're going. Now, this car just has a regular sunroof, not a panoramic one, but I think it's fine as long as there
fine.
is a
As long as-
sunroof.
yeah,
You
as
get
long as it
enough
has
light in
one.
the car, which is great. No place to store your glasses, at least at the top over
But you
here.
have so much storage down here
Exactly, so it's not a big deal.
under the floating
Yeah.
console.
There's an SOS button, which I'm about to push because my
which we
wife's
don't
in
know
the
what
car.
that is. And the glove compartment is really big.
Yeah, you do have a lot of space in that glove
Really
compartment,
big glove
which is
compartment.
really
You can
nice.
fit a lot of sunglasses in there. I love the fact that these seats are made of suede.
Yes, I found the seats in the Ioniq 6 to be a little stiff. These are much more comfortable, and it's probably the fact that because it is using the suede and the mixed vegan leather, whereas the other ones were pure vegan leather. I also
Right.
like the fact that you can cool your seats, which is really good in the summertime.
Yeah, I accidentally pushed the cooling seats when I was trying to navigate over here on the screen, and it really cools you down like within seconds.
Yeah, it's a good feature for when it gets hot, hot, hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in terms of overall visibility, you got lots. You know, like this, your window's big enough. You have big windows on the left and right of you. The back windows are obviously smaller because that's where it starts to swoop down. But you know, it's just a very solid, well-built car, and that's what I love about driving this thing. It just feels solid. Oh, by the way, this is where Drake lives.
There it is.
Here's Drake's house.
You used to call me on my cell phone.
Now, to the front of the car also looks super sporty. It kind of like curves out like a big booty. I enjoy that. But look, the front does have a couple of grills, okay? They're fake. I don't mind it. It's not too much like they do on some cars. It obviously looks a bit plasticky, but there's 2 different versions of it. You do have your camera in the middle over here, but the unfortunate part about this design is that you just don't get a lot of front space. In fact, it looks like you'd get a lot of front space, but as soon as you open it up, there's just not a lot of room inside of there. Like, you could probably keep your charging cables in here, but you're not putting anything else. So the side of the car is definitely a lot sportier than the Ioniq 5. It has this like slooped roof on the back. It kind of reminds me of the I-Pace from Jaguar. I think it looks really, really svelte, and it just gives it a very bold look with this yacht blue color. The door handles pop out just like on the Ioniq 6. You have 20-inch tires. These are all-season tires, and this specific car comes in a bunch of different options. Now, the one that we're looking at today is the GT Line 2 package. This retails for around $65,000, so around the same price as the more expensive Ioniq 5 if you include the Ultimate package. But you have a lot of light sticking out of the side of the mirrors. It gives it a two-tone finish with the black and blue look. The back window is tinted, so this is great for the summertime. It will help reduce the heat inside the car so that your car will be more economical when you drive it. So a quick little update on the key. There's a lot of functionality on it. For example, you have a little hold button at the top that will turn on your car remotely. You can move the car forward and back if you're stuck in a really tight position. It doesn't like auto drive or anything, it literally just moves the car forward and back. Now to get into the trunk, there's two ways to get in. You can either manually open it up using your hand, or you can hold the button on the side of the key until it makes a noise, and then it will open it up. Now I do like the design of this car because these lights over here on the side provide a continuation across the back, which gives it a really cool sporty look. The back does stick out and you do have a little bit of a curve, something that you see on Porsches. And then in the interior over here, you have, I don't know, I'd say it's a fairly good amount of space. It's not a lot, like it's not gonna be as much as a Tesla Model Y, for example, but you know, it's a hatchback. It's just easy to get stuff in and out. You can open up the bottom over here, which will give you a space for your charging cables, which I think you should put in the front anyways. And then of course you have a little cover if you want to hide the things that you have inside of your trunk so that no one sees it while you're out shopping. So if you want to put the back seats down, there is a latch right over here and it automatically goes down, whereas other cars you have to physically go to the side of the door, push the latch and bring it down, then come back to the back, which is kind of annoying. The charging port's not on the front or the side of the car, it's actually on the back right of the car. It's blended in. You can't tell it's a charging port. You'd think you'd push it like this to open, but you kind of have to dig your fingernails inside, and then once it's open, you have access to it. You do have two holes over here. One of them is for level 1 and 2, and then if you remove this, you can quick charge it, which will give you a faster charging speed.
So the back seat is really comfortable. I love the seats. I love the fact that this is not leather and it actually is made of suede. And this is vegan leather, which is really nice as well. But the suede actually gives it a more comfortable feel, I think. And the seat is all the way back, as far back as you need it to go for a 6-foot person. And look how much legroom I have, which is great. Middle seat is also just as comfortable as the side, which is really unusual because the middle seat is usually a seat that no one really wants to sit in. So when you're in the middle, you have so much legroom, no hump in the middle, flat floor, which is really great. The windows are really quick and they go all the way down. The windows are a little bit small, I would say though. Would you say so, Matt? The windows are a bit small?
Oh yeah, I mean the back is a coupe, right? So
Right.
they're gonna be a little smaller.
So yeah, they're a little bit small. I love the fact that you have the vent on the side here.
Yeah, that's kind of nice. Most
That's
cars
really
don't have
nice.
that.
It I guess distributes the heat and the AC really nicely. You have your big Meridian speaker here. You have 14 speakers in this car, which is really great.
I love how you have like also heated seats on the side of the window.
Heated seat, yeah. Instead of it being over here, you have it on the window, which is really easily accessible. And oh, here are your cup holders, but no access to the back,
And
which is unfortunate.
a couple
but-
Type-C ports, it looks like.
A couple, yeah, right here on the side of the back seats. And this is made of plastic, but the cool thing is that it has elastics here. So they're really easy to pull out. You can still fit a lot in here, even though this is made of plastic. The seats don't look premium, but they don't really look cheap either. I kind of like the way they look. I don't particularly love the look of this, the seat, the headrest. Looks a little sporty, which is cool, but I don't love the look of it. The height space is great, actually. For this car, I would say the height space is probably better than...
Height space or head space? What are you? Jesus.
Headspace is great. I think that we need to
Well, for
switch.
you,
and
but-
I think you need to come sit here so we can see how tall it is. But I feel like this is really, really high.
Yeah, if you're like 4'1". So the big question, is the Kia EV6 worth the watt? Honestly, I was blown away by this Kia, and that's saying a lot because Kia's been a brand that's always been associated with, you know, inferior cars in terms of build quality. But this does not feel like that at all. This feels like a German sports car in a body that's embedded with an EV, and that's quite impressive. In a lot of ways, this car is much better than my Tesla Model 3, which I'm kind of shocked. And quite frankly, if someone offered to trade my Model 3 for this, I'd probably do it. But here's the thing, is it better than the Ioniq 5 considering they're both the same price? I don't know yet. We're not reviewing the Ioniq 5 for a few more weeks, so I'll answer the question to that in that video, so make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss it. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next one.